grief that the families that are grieving because of the accident this past week. God, we know that things happen that are sometimes uncontrollable by us. And the families of Kowicki and Brooks and Duncan and Campbell, God, I pray that you told us that you're the God of all comfort. You told us to come unto you when we're weak and heavy laden. So God, that they are aching, and touch them. And in the midst of tragedies that come our way, especially those in our personal families, we cannot thank you enough for good memories. And the racing world, God, each and every fan, thanks you for memories. We will never forget the lucky number 7, the rookie. We thank you for the memory of someone who's shown us that an owner and driver, both the same, can conquer a championship. God, we will always be reminded in our memory, and we will smile each and every time we hear or see a Polish victory lap. And God, there's not a one of us will ever forget the time that our champion combed his hair before he got out of his car. God, we thank you for those memories. And we pray as we leave here today, God, that we will enjoy this. And we all will say that it's been good to be here. And each and every one of us, God, can leave safe. Again, we mean it when we pray for a safe race. And God, not just me, but thousands and millions of fans everywhere will be praying a moment of silent prayer on behalf of the families of Alan Kowicki, Mark Brooks, Dan Duncan, and Charles Campbell. Thank you for loaning them to us for a short while, and please be with their families. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
When talking about his race in Darlington last Sunday, Alan Kowicki said something that has even more meaning now. Alan said, quote, "There'll be another day when we'll be better." We'll be back in just a moment.
Because they are easy.
The Suzuki
Katana 600, easily identified flying object. In America, your car is not just something you own. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. With not one, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Let's go party down on the beach all day.
A wet and wild way to spend a weekday. The World Jet Ski Finals and Wyland Pro Surfing. Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
How far will your money go when buying a Katana 600? Introducing Suzuki Get On It Flexible Financing. Want to see it again? Other programs include zero down, low monthly payments, and first-time buyer. Get on it.
We're back live now at Bristol Raceway. And we'll remember these hills of East Tennessee that took the lives of Alan Kulwicki, Mark Brooks, Dan Duncan, and Charles Campbell. At the Winston Cup banquet last December, we put together a special tribute to Alan for winning the championship. And now that his last race is over, we feel it appropriate to repeat it. The song is one of Alan's favorites, and the words fit his life so well. My Way. Let us also remember in the next few minutes the 3 other victims of the crash. The transporter that carried Alan's car has made its final lap, and the checkered flag has fallen for the final time. It has returned to Charlotte, North Carolina, finding an outpouring of sympathy from race fans and loved ones. As long as racing continues, and as long as men seek and find the American dream, we will always remember Alan Kulwicki.
He's a true champion. We want to dedicate this race to Alan in the memory of him and all he accomplished, and to others like him.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way.
Some things are a matter of principle. I felt like I would have always been second-guessing myself. I would have wondered, well, could I have done what we did today on my own? That was something it was a dream I wasn't ready to give up on yet. I stuck with it a little bit longer, and eventually it came true.
Yes, it was my way.
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose.
Today's history lesson, the fork. No! I'm talking front fork! Look! Since day one, it's done two jobs, steering and suspension. You ever tried holding down two jobs? Now, cut to the new Yamaha GTS 1008, the Sultan of swing arms. One arm steers, one does suspension. No fork, no fuss. Yamaha doesn't just make motorcycles, they make history. End of lesson.
Atop the flag stand, our honorary starter, the manager of the Weber City Food City, Mr. Joe McCauley. Welcome back to the microphone, our grand marshal for today's race, the chief executive officer for Food City Incorporated, Mr. Jack Smith.
Drivers, start your engines.
With the command to start engines, the thoughts now turn from the past to the future. Let's get down to pit road with John Kernan.
Bobby, you'll recall last week, Jerry Punch talked about the importance of fast pit stops and how the teams were achieving those. In fact, we saw the Miller Genuine Draft crew, Rusty Wallace, pull off a pit stop in a little over 17 seconds. Now on Monday, some other teams watched tapes of the race. They took note of that. And a couple of teams have told me their owners have put them on extensive weight training programs so they can beef up their pit stops. We will need to see some more fast pit stops from these guys today from all over the racetrack. In fact, Rusty's crew has told me that under perfect conditions, Jerry, they might be able to do a 4-tire change in under 16 seconds.
Well, John, time is just so critical here at Bristol. When you look at this racetrack from high above, you see this high bank fast racetrack that requires only about 16 seconds to circulate. That's why this track is so critical for pit stops. Second, so important. The backstretch pits and front stretch pits. Half the field pitting in the back straightaway. They already have an uphill battle. Take a look at a driver who has a mountain to climb today. Darrell Waltrip, the winningest driver in this racetrack's history. 12 victories. Will start dead last, shotgun on today's field in 35th spot. Darrell told me moments ago, hey, I was first at the last race, and I'm last at the first race. Just because I start back there doesn't mean I have to finish there. But Darrell, that's his work cut out for him because this is a very, very tough racetrack to pass on. Bob?
I think that's the understatement of the weekend so far. To pass was very difficult yesterday in the Busch Grand National race, and Darrell has a long way to go to get to the front. Well, what do you look for in this race, Ned?
I tell you, things happen so fast on this racetrack, Bob. Anything can happen. Patience is always a key word in most races, but it's never more important than it is here. But you can't be too conservative on this racetrack. If you do, you'll get lapped in a hurry. If there's a hole opens up, you got to jump in it. The spotters are always important at every racetrack, but I'm not sure he can do as much here as he does at other tracks because things do happen so quickly. It's more driver here.
And I tell you, it's going to take a great race driver today, Ned, because it's a one-groove racetrack right now. The cement has set over the winter. The race cars have only been on it Friday afternoon and yesterday, and they just haven't worked the groove up to the top side of the racetrack. So you're right. You have to be patient and ride behind that guy. But if there is an opening, jump up there and try to get underneath somebody. I'm afraid we're going to see some fender banging today.
All right, let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's Food City 500. The pole sitter is Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, qualifying at 120.938 in car number 2. Next to him, Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Ford, car number 26. The second row is Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, car number 4, and then the 21 Citgo Ford, driven by Morgan Shepherd. The third row, the Motorcraft Ford, car number 15, piloted by Jeff Bodine. Next to him, last week's winner, Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, car number 3. Starting 7th is Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet car 25, and then Mark Martin in the Valvoline Ford car number 6. And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, you can see again that they have added more seats here at Bristol. It's just unbelievable how many people turn out for the events here. Not only this afternoon race, but of course the night race that's held here at this fast half-mile racetrack in the fall.
Bob, the first 9 rows are pitting on the front stretch from row 10 on back. Those are the drivers back on the back stretch. You can see Rick Mast and Bill Elliott will be back there, and everyone behind them. And
you may have noticed Jeff Gordon there starting in 21st position. He is the second fastest qualifier, just a tick of the watch slower than the pole sitter Rusty Wallace. But because he was a second-day qualifier, he will start in 21st spot.
And something fell out of one of the cars down right at the end of pit road, and one of the officials went over and picked it up. It looked like a hunk of lead or something.
Well, you wonder, they weigh these cars. That's one of the things they do in the pre-race inspection. Wonder if it would be a little bit light. Jerry Punch?
Well, just a minute ago, the NASCAR officials went out in turn 1 and picked up this piece of lead, and they carried it back over to the pit wall. Now, it has marked on it number 75, indicating probably it's either 75 pounds or it came out of the car number 75. But whatever the reason, NASCAR would not allow the field to start because someone lost this large segment of lead, and the car wouldn't be legal even if it did race. So why let it race? They're going to hold off the start and try to get this lead placed back inside the car so it'll meet the proper 3,500-pound weight restriction. Bob?
And we can see car 75 is in the pits, Jerry, on the back straightaway. So evidently the lead came out of his car, and NASCAR again is not going to let the car run until the weight is put back in. His weight is like everyone else's.
That is Dick Trickle, and he crashed here yesterday during the practice session and is scheduled to start. It took a provisional, as a matter of fact, starting in 34th position, and already some problems with that car. But he's back on the racetrack, catching up with the field, and we should be going green in just a moment. Jerry, you got more?
Well, actually, Trickle and the guys, you're right, Bob. They crashed their primary short track car, and they had to go back home and get a speedway car. And I tell you, Butch Mock and his crews worked through the night to get this car ready and get it in the field. So they did not have a chance to get the car as tuned as they would like it. So this kind of problem would not ordinarily happen because they were in such a hurry. We're getting ready to go green flag, Bob.
Crowd rises, and we are set to go for 500 laps of racing at Bristol International Raceway, the Food City 500.
We saw something we don't normally see. The outside pole man got a great start. Brett Bodine took the lead from pole sitter Rusty Wallace.
This is our in-car camera being carried by the leader, Brett Bodine.
Nothing but clean racetrack in front of Brett Bodine. That 4-car running third. Ernie Irvin had to put a new engine in his car this morning just before they put the car on the line. Install a brand new engine, and this is a brand new race car. First race for him.
Rusty just got off to a miserable start. I thought Ernie Irvin was going to come up and bump him in the back end of the car. But now Rusty has caught up to the pole sitter Brett Bodine, and it's a 3-car battle up front.
They pull away about 15-20 car lengths from the 4th place car of Morgan Shepherd. Now Rusty moves on the inside, takes the lead.
Out of turn number 2 down the back stretch, Rusty gets a good bite, takes first position, and Ernie Irvin takes second from Brett. And now it becomes a 6-car battle as Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine, and Dale Earnhardt have caught up. And this is the roof cam on Morgan Shepherd's Citgo Ford. You see the black number 7 there on the hood of the car, symbolic and in remembrance of their fallen champion, Alan Kulwicki.
And watch just how little time he has down the straightaway to relax. He's already in the 3rd corner, all the way through the corner. There we see Earnhardt from high atop in the blimp, following Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine.
Every other car in the field is running single file. There are no side-by-side battles at the moment. There are a lot of drivers back there that are looking for a place to go, but as we pointed out, it's going to be tough to pass on this track for a little while, but they will work in a second groove, I think, as time goes by.
They were looking for Morgan Shepherd's rear bumper right back at Jeff Bodine or Motorcraft Ford. Here comes Earnhardt on the inside.
Oh, he had a notion, but didn't take advantage. In fact, he backed off, and that has allowed Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader to close in on him. Now here is Rudd to the inside of Schrader as they go down the backstretch into turn 3. That inside line is the one to have, and Schrader loses not 1 but 2 positions.
Yeah, he knew that he was caught up there and he wasn't going to take any chances. And he just backed off and let him go and said, I'll fall in line here and follow for a while.
Great run for Bobby Hamilton, the Country Time Ford.
And Dick Trickle is just now coming out of the pits. You can see him down on the inside, the white car there. He's coming out. He went back in the pits as they worked on that lead, so he is several laps down, in fact, about a dozen.
We're looking at Denny Schrader, Kodiak Chevrolet. There's our pole sitter and leader, Rusty Wallace. Ernie Irvin, Brett Bodine. Tell you what, Rusty is hooked up today, isn't he, Ned?
Yes, he is. Boy, he loves this racetrack and he loves that race car. He has been on a roll this year, and the type of confidence that he and the team have right now will carry you a long way, and he is taking off.
He started from the pole, and it was his second pole in 19 career starts at this Bristol Raceway. So he leads at the end of 14 laps with Ernie Irvin running in second position and Brett Bodine third. We're early in the going of this Food City 500. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by your local Yamaha dealer, who invites you to see their exciting new line of motorcycles, ATVs, and water vehicles. By Orkin Termite and Pest Control. One call destroys them all. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. Ooh. We'll be back with more from Bristol International Raceway and the Food City 500 right after this.
In the war against termites, only one company has a weapon like this. The Exterminator, the Orkin Man. And now he's armed with the latest technology, the Orkin Foam System. Orkin Foam is the most effective termite treatment ever. Unlike other methods, it penetrates completely to stop termites cold. Guaranteed. And only the Exterminator has it. The Orkin Man. One call destroys them all. Pure and natural. Budweiser, king of beers.
Man, we're out here to test. Nothing but rain. Hey, where's Mario?
Two champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
I hear your power is looking good for you this year.
It's unbelievable.
Must run pretty hot in a tight draft, though.
Got that pretty well beat.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf.
Yeah, I'm wide open all the time.
Hey, only way to do it.
Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Quit raining, please.
Well, the caution is out for the first time on lap number 19 here at Bristol. The incident that brought out the caution was a crash up in turn number 2 involving Hut Strickland. He has damaged the car to the point that he's had to bring it in for repairs and is behind the wall. And here is the tail end of what happened up there between 1 and 2.
Ooh, cars going everywhere. Phil Parsons on the outside, another car on the inside, and you can see some pretty heavy damage to the back of that McDonald's Ford.
John Kernan has more from down there in the pits.
Hut Strickland is just catching his breath right now. The team is going to work on the McDonald's Ford. You can see the rear end is pretty much smashed in, and left side by the fuel filler is pushed all the way toward the right of the race car. They will go to work trying to get Hut out. Let's sneak in here and see if we can talk to Hut real quickly. Hut, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't really know what happened, though. You know, it felt like something either broke or felt like it hit oil or something. It just went down in the corner and this thing just swapped ends. You know, just one of them things, you know.
That's Hut Strickland. We're thankful he is okay. They're going to work on the car and try to get him back out, Bob.
Meanwhile, the green flag has come back out, and we are racing once again at Bristol. There is Dale Earnhardt putting pressure on Morgan Shepherd. That's for the 5th position. Morgan is running 5th, and Earnhardt is 6th. Behind him is Ricky Rudd in car number 5, and we're looking back now from Morgan's car on the GM Goodrich Chevrolet.
Jeff Bodine in the Motorcraft Ford is now running 4th. He was able to get by Morgan a few laps ago just before the caution flag.
Ooh, Morgan gets a little loose. Earnhardt just taps him a little bit, then moves on the inside. Boy, it doesn't take much. You just flip the gas a little bit, and he had to right then when the car got loose, so Earnhardt got by.
Ricky Rudd took a look coming out of turn number 4 down the front stretch, but could not pass Morgan.
We can see just how hard these cars are going in the corner. You can see how much the front end moves up and down, and just how much force they take when they go into the corner at about 125 miles an hour. No, about 100 miles an hour. They go down the straightaway, and that's probably 135, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, they got to be going, I'd say, closer to 150. And Sterling Marlin is in trouble.
Oh.
Dale Jarrett, Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, Jimmy Spencer.
Several cars in a crash down between turns 3 and 4 this time. Sterling Marlin's car is at the bottom of the racetrack there on the right, and up high in the wall is Jimmy Spencer.
And Harry Gant not able to get his car going. We can see some damage to the rear of his car and was lost a lap. Rusty Wallace got by there. Spencer sitting backwards on the racetrack. His car is rolling now.
These guys were battling tooth and nail for several laps, and finally something happened to cause this. Let's see if we can determine what.
Well, Sterling Marlin is in the blue car, the number 8. Looked like Michael Waltrip might have got a little bit loose there. Sterling maybe tapped him a little bit and then thought he had a nose under him going into the turn. Michael took his regular route into the turn. They touched and around he went, and then the cars come up behind him. Everybody was running the inside groove. You can see some cars get by, but back in the pack, they slowed down. They got hit from behind. There was Bill Elliott up on the high side of the track. He came on around. Dale Jarrett got his car righted and came on around. Harry Gant, as Benny mentioned, got banged into there. Joe Ruttman in the other blue car there was in it as well.
And we see Jimmy Spencer sitting up on the outside of the racetrack in the Meineke Muffler car.
Everybody pulled away from the crash, so we'll not have any tow vehicles out there. However, several are in the pits, including John Kernan.
Well, the crew goes to work on Sterling Marlin's car. They're having to pull the sheet metal away from the left front. You can see all the heavy contact right there. A lot of sheet metal damage. They're bending back the rear deck lid. Sterling now gets the okay to go down and away. A lot of twisted metal on that race car.
There's a lot of twisted metal on Bill Elliott's car. Looks like he sustained probably the most damage because he has a nose knocked off his car.
Yeah, he didn't spin, but he either hit the wall or someone hit him, and he has been in the pits. He goes back in the pits once again. He's pitting on the backstretch. There it is. You can see the damage to the right front of the Budweiser Ford. Junior Johnson is here this week. First race he's been back to. Hates to see both of his cars having trouble here early. Hut Strickland was the first one, and now Bill Elliott in the number 11 car.
Well, you can talk about it and you can describe Bristol International Raceway, but it is indeed a unique racetrack. Some of the aspects of this track are not like any other. It's 0.533 miles in length, and the pole speed was 120.938 at a time of 15.866 seconds. The field separated by only 33 hundredths of a second. This is a look at Bristol International Raceway. The banking, the steepest in all of NASCAR competition. 36 degrees in turns 1 and 2, and that black mark there shows you the exact angle of 36 degrees. On the backstretch, it's 16 degrees. The backstretch itself is 650 feet in length. Over to turns 3 and 4, again, a banking of 36 degrees. And on the front stretch, the same as the back stretch, 16 degrees of banking. And it is also 650 feet in length. Until you've driven it, you can't really describe it, can you?
That's the truth, and his bank's steeper now than it was when I drove race cars, and it was tough enough then. Bob, we've had a few pit stops here. One unscheduled pit stop, Ken Schrader, he was not involved in a wreck or anything, but he had a flat right front tire, so he came in. Bobby Hamilton, who was running in 9th position, has taken his car behind the wall, totally out in the garage area, and the green flag waves again.
Back under green conditions at lap number 32 as Jimmy Spencer comes up and tries to get a lap back, is unable to do so and falls third in line behind the leader, Rusty Wallace, and Ernie Irvin, who is running in 2nd position. This is Irvin's 12th top 10 start in a streak that began at Martinsville in September of last year.
We can see that Ernie's got his car pretty doggone good.
Yeah, that car was fast in practice yesterday. He and Mark Martin, Rusty, Dale Earnhardt. There were a lot of them that were pretty fast.
Everyone in the garage area said that Mark Martin seemed to have the best car in practice, but he qualified back a little bit, so he has to work his way through this traffic. But later on in the race, they think Mark Martin is going to be a serious threat.
He's 7th right now, and certainly has the leader in sight.
Rusty's starting to move away from Ernie just a little bit, a couple of car lengths that lap.
Rusty Wallace won his very first Winston Cup race here in 1986. And as you indicated, he is beginning to put some racetrack between himself and Ernie Irvin running 2nd.
Well, certainly this racetrack lends itself to his style of driving. He's a very aggressive race driver. You have to drive very aggressively here. And Jimmy Spencer gets around Ernie Irvin as Ernie slipped a little bit there.
Again, Spencer trying to get his lap back. He lost a lap involved in that crash up there in turn number 4, but he has now moved ahead of 2nd place as Ernie Irvin and Brett Bodine running 2nd and 3rd. There goes Davey Allison to the inside of Bobby Hillin, and Jeff Gordon in car number 24 will come along.
Jeff Gordon is moving up through this field, gentlemen. He started in 21st position.
He's up to 12th.
He's up to 12th already.
That's pretty impressive on a racetrack that is very difficult to pass on.
Jeff Gordon, of course, has driven the open wheel cars on racetracks similar to this at Winchester and at Salem, but as far as a stock car is concerned, this must be a new experience to him. Of course, he's driven the Busch Grand National cars here, but never a Winston Cup race at Bristol for Jeff Gordon.
Bob, right now there are 3 cars that are behind the wall. This does not necessarily mean they're out of the race, but they're doing work on them. That is Hutch Strickland, Harry Gant, and Bobby Hamilton.
There we see Lake Speed, the Purex Ford. He's 13th currently. Morgan Shepherd looks like he's having some problems. He tries to get on the inside of Kenny Wallace, can't do it. But meanwhile, Michael Waltrip, our winner yesterday afternoon, all over Morgan Shepherd.
Now, both of those drivers pitted, Benny, during this caution period. We saw Morgan having some problems handling before the caution came out. So he is, that's why he's back in the field as far as he is.
A little bit of fluid there on the lens of our camera. Does that indicate anything to you guys?
Usually it indicates it's raining, but since it's not raining, I don't know if Earnhardt may be losing a little bit of water or not.
Yeah, it could be coming from another car.
And we can see Mark Martin, who everyone was bragging about, just slowly moving through the field.
He's up to 6th position right now, and Dale Earnhardt is in 5th spot. This is our Olympic stain in-car camera, actually on the roof of the Valvoline Ford, driven by Mark Martin.
An in-car camera that's on the roof, huh?
That's right. Okay, then an on-car camera. How's that?
Okay, better. And Mark looks to the inside of Earnhardt, but Earnhardt realized Mark was not up far enough.
So that battle continues on the racetrack, while up front it is still Rusty Wallace who is in command of the Food City 500. In fact, lapping cars here at the end of 46 laps.
Fire from beneath the mountains gave the land its richness, and the land gave the richness to the coffee of Colombia. That's why Maxwell House uses more Colombian beans than anyone in America. Because better beans make better coffee. The coffees of Maxwell House, blended with rich Colombian beans. Always good to the last drop.
At 180 miles an hour, Darrell Waltrip can't afford a bad part.
Ouch, man, that hurt. Like you, I need quality parts at the right price. And at Western Auto, we guarantee it. You'll find thousands of top name brand parts, all backed by Western Auto's unbeatable everyday low price guarantee. Right?
Right, DW. Pick up Haviland Formula 3 motor oil at Western Auto's unbeatable low price. Add more life to your car with Haviland Formula 3.
The right parts, unbeatable low prices. At Western Auto, we guarantee it.
Right, DW.
Major League excitement.
5 nights a week.
On ESPN.
It's opening day. The Florida Marlins play their first game ever as they battle the Dodgers. Then Doug Drabek leads the new-look Astros against the Phillies. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN.
Caution has once again come out at Bristol International Raceway for the second time this afternoon. This on lap number 53. And we have some debris also on the racetrack. There's one of the cars that was involved in the incident, Bobby Hillen Jr., and the other was Ken Schrader.
Looks like Schrader came out the worst in on the deal because he had, and Rusty Wallace, all the front runners coming in the pits.
This at 53 laps.
Kind of unusual, I think, this early.
Well, it is, but I'm sure they want to get in and check the tires out. This is the longest run they've had on the tires and just see how everything is wearing. Once the leader comes in, then everybody else has got to come in. Let's see if they can be able to get one of those sub-16-second pit stops here.
Todd Parrott wearing the crew cam.
I don't think so this time. 15, 16. Pretty good. 17 and a half. That's not bad.
Darn good pit stop.
And everyone else is still sitting in the pits. Rusty Wallace has been gone for seconds. Brett Bodine will come out second. Earnhardt third.
Then comes Jeff Bodine and Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin, Kyle Petty.
And Mark Martin is sitting in the pits. Mark Martin is just now leaving.
Martin had a really slow pit stop.
Something wrong on that pit stop.
Yeah, compared to the others, he was in for a long time.
Now here is the incident that brought out the second caution. Well, Hillen looks like just got loose coming out of 2.
He did, and spun sideways and right in front of Ken Schrader, knocked him down into the wall. Schrader comes back into Hillen. And Benny, I think you're right. I think Schrader got the worst end of that deal.
Oh,
just
man, did he?
Circumstances.
He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time as Hillen got loose coming off 2 and slid right into the path of Ken Schrader. Well, you're watching live coverage of the Food City 500 from Bristol International Raceway. We'd like to thank the Family Channel Blimp for again providing the aerial coverage for today's race. The Blimp pilot today is Steve Tomlin. We'll be right back.
This weekend at Haynes, do bring money. Save up to 50% off retail prices store-wide. But do bring money. Because when you pay by cash or check, for the first time ever, you'll save even more, a lot more. An additional cash discount, so substantial in fact, we may never offer it again. This one and only weekend, save a fortune, while cash is king.
Okay, bud, just hold your finger right there. I'll be right back with the part.
At Advance Auto Parts, our in-store inventory of over 15,000 parts is growing every day. And with our special PDQ service, in most cases, we'll get you those hard-to-find parts the same day. So what are you waiting for? Next time you need an auto part in a hurry, go to Advance.
To me, if people are going to talk about me or talk about the negative things about the team, as long as we win, that's my big thing. And I know I'm not going to be the only person on the team that's going to bring success to the team.
Still under caution at Bristol with 57 laps completed due to an accident involving Bobby Hillen Jr. and Ken Schrader. Jerry Punch has an explanation of why it took Mark Martin so long on that pit stop.
Bob, it was equipment failure. The right front air wrench just quit working, locked up, and they had to go around the wall, get another air wrench, and come back to change the right side tires. And when the right side gets malfunctioned, then that slows down the entire pit stop. You can't get to the left side. You can't pull the jack out. So it cost them about an extra 9 or 10 seconds in the pits. They were pitting right behind Dale Earnhardt, which is who they were following on the racetrack. Remember, we saw some in-car camera shots of some possible moisture on Mark's windshield from the Earnhardt car. They pulled a piece of tape off the front of the Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet because the car was indeed overheating slightly. Let's check in with John Kernan. John?
Jerry, also a problem in the pits for Kyle Petty as they came around to the left side. They got the car up on the jack. As soon as they started to pull the wheels off the left side, the jack all of a sudden collapsed. It cost them about 4 or 5 more seconds. They were going to be in that 17, 18-second pit range. They really had a good stop going. Now, Bobby Hillin is in the pits for repairs right now. They think it may be just sheet metal. They're going to check the toe end. Bobby has told crew chief Doug Williams that he just simply lost it.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious. He was not hit by anyone, just got the rear end a little loose coming off the second corner. And here is the field now, realigning for the start, and Jimmy Spencer is at the front of the field. However, he is the length of the racetrack behind. The leader of the race is Michael Waltrip.
Exactly. Spencer stayed out there, did not make a pit stop, and he had a very fast race car, as we had pointed out before this caution came out. He was trying to unlap himself. Michael Waltrip is the leader. Dale Jarrett was second.
Michael Waltrip, as Benny said a few minutes ago, was the winner of the Grand National race here yesterday, a very emotional victory lane. And Michael is looking for his very first Winston Cup victory. There's Dale Jarrett running in second position, and Phil Parsons, who is lap down.
Right. Yeah. Now, right there, Joe Rudd was running third.
Yes, he is. Now, those 3 cars all did not pit on this caution. They had pitted on the last caution, so that worked in their favor here this time, having pitted not too long ago, so everybody else pitted, so they came back up to the front.
And by the way, fans, if you watched the race yesterday and you saw Michael propose to his fiancée now and asked her to marry him, she had accepted, and he in fact did have the ring. I saw it this morning.
Real good. Yeah, he said he had the intent, just didn't know how to go about it. So you let him right into that.
Yeah.
Benny playing Cupid.
Now here's Dale Jarrett sneaking up on Michael Waltrip rather quickly, as a matter of fact. Cuts the advantage to about a half a car length and chases Michael down the front stretch.
And I tell you, these guys like Dale Jarrett that's pitted on the back straightaway, they don't want to pit anyway, do they, Neil?
No, it's good. It's going to be a tough.
Lots of heavy traffic behind the leaders as Rusty Wallace tries to move through. That is Ted Musgrave and the Jasper Engines US Air Ford on the outside of Rusty. Brett Bodine right behind. They both pass Ted Musgrave, and here comes Dale Earnhardt.
And Jeff Bodine, Musgrave wisely goes up, stays on the top of the racetrack. This is from inside Brett Bodine's Quaker State Ford. Looking back at the GM Goodrich Chevrolet, Dale Earnhardt.
Brett is 4th, and Dale is 5th.
Rusty Wallace has moved into 3rd now.
Let's see the RPMs. 8,500 I saw for a second. Oh, a crash on the front straightaway.
Terry Labonte at late speed.
And Morgan Shepherd shoots the half, goes right between them, and stays out of trouble. Looks like that Labonte's car is damaged in the right front, and Lake Speed's car has also suffered some damage.
And Jimmy Spencer got his lap back.
Yes, he did.
And I tell you what, that car is fast.
Yes, it is. It's very, very fast. And so he's going to be in position now to be a contender.
Here's our leader, Michael Waltrip. Now, he probably will come in this caution flag, make his pit stop.
Well, the pits are open. Let's see if he does. He might not want to give up that track position, so there might be another caution here after a while.
Both Michael and Dale Jarrett stay out there. Let's see if anyone comes in. Doesn't appear to be. Well, here comes Kyle Petty falling down off the banking and entering pit road. But
and Mark Martin's coming back in for some reason. Oh, I see. He's got some damage on the nose of his car.
Here's John Kernan in Kyle's pit.
Kyle is in for a 4-tire change, and also a report that a tire has been rubbing, so they will have to pull the sheet metal away. They will change all 4 tires. Work already continued on the left side. Let's go down to Mark Martin's pit and Jerry Punch.
The Valvoline crew having changed right side tires, they come around to the left side. You can take a look at the front of the car, what's left of the front of that Ford Thunderbird, the nose having been blunted significantly. Some of that Kevlar front nose piece has been shoved and separated. And now one crew member trying to pull in front of the car and pull some of the sheet metal away, trying to push the hood down. Mark, as you can see, the visibility not great. He pulls back on the racetrack to try to keep from losing a lap. Obviously, he has his work cut out for him. It's going to be a long day for Mark Martin.
Let's take a look again at what happened. This is off of our speed shot, which is down near the starter stand. You can see the car sliding through on the inside.
Lake Speed was the first car that we saw sliding down on the inside, and then there's Terry Labate in the car number 14. And here comes Morgan Shepherd. He chose to go down the inside. Really wasn't anywhere to go up on the outside, all those cars, but those cars split, so Morgan could go right between them.
It's our third caution of the day here at Bristol International Raceway as we present live coverage of the Food City 500.
Remember those old dirt tracks, AJ? The dirt would just eat up the engines.
Two champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
My favorite win was going to be in '69, and I had to give it to you. You shouldn't have even made a half a lap.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Heck, I still feel if I can't win, I don't want nobody to win. I'll try to remember that, AJ. Do that.
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone, and taking care of them means having what they need when they need it. That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers, because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer, but we think of you as the boss.
We thought we'd been everywhere, seen everything. We were wrong.
We're bad to the bone. We're bad to the bone.
These guys were weird, and we liked it. Later, they took us to the Tower of Bud. Brother, tomorrow we ride again.
Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch welcome you back to Bristol International Raceway in the Food City 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race. Out front of the pack is Sterling Marlin, who has gotten one of his 5 laps back. The leader of the race is Dale Jarrett. Running in second position, right behind him is Rusty Wallace, and third is Michael Waltrip.
Michael flipped a little bit. Sterling Marlin got by him. At the same time, Dale Jarrett went around him, and Rusty did also. So they pulled away from Michael Waltrip right now. Sterling Marlin seems to have a fast car right now. He's a number of laps down, of course.
And he was involved in the crash, backed the car in the wall up in turns 3. And there's the car who seemed to be flying is Rusty Wallace, Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac.
Yeah, he made a pit stop during one of our cautions and, of course, relinquished track position because of that, but has fought his way back up through and now is just a few feet behind the leader.
We mentioned Bobby Hamilton was out of the race, not knowing if he'd get back in. He has an engine problem, so he will not be back in the race. Still working on Hut Strickland, Harry Gant, Ken Schrader, and the car number 90 of Bobby Hillen.
Tight racing back here in the pack. That's Davey Allison. Jeff Gordon runs alongside Ted Musgrave. Kyle Petty is there in the 42, along with Bill Elliott and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip.
Bill Elliott is a lap down. Rusty Wallace had lapped him before one of those cautions that come out. Of course, Bill was involved in one of those accidents.
Now, Darrell Waltrip, remember, has come up to 14th despite the fact that he started in last position, scratch. In fact, had to take a champion's provisional to get into this race, and is also pitting on the backstretch.
Well, I don't know if he had to take that provisional, but by doing that, he allowed another car to start the race.
Yeah, he had to take a provisional, right. But he could have taken a regular provision. But as Benny said, he chose to take the champion's provision, and that did left.
Allow Bobby Labonte and Dick Trickle to be the 2 regular provisions.
Exactly.
There are the leaders. Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace.
Well, Rusty has been all over Jarrett here for the last several laps. But Jarrett's been able to hold him off now. Rusty looks on the inside, but can't quite do it.
Dale had a good run here last year at this race, didn't he?
Well, he finished second.
Yeah. In fact, he led for quite a ways, as I remember. Here's your Napa Field summary. Watch for your favorite driver. This is how they were running last lap.
We can see how both these cars running in the same tracks. That's what we're calling the groove. Where these cars running, that's the fastest way around the racetrack. And right now, at the early stages of the race, all the cars want to run at that same spot.
And that's why it's so difficult for Rusty Wallace to pass Dale Jarrett, is that Jarrett's using the preferred groove around the track, and he just can't do much with it.
You see Dale Earnhardt get by Brett Bodine, and Jeff Bodine followed by his younger brother.
And trouble up here. Rick Mast right in front of the leaders as they come off of turn 4. Jarrett and Wallace get by.
Jarrett and Wallace both had to slam on the brakes and dive toward the outside of the racetrack to avoid the spinning Rick Mast. And Sterling Marlin got one of his laps back.
I think he's down, well, it says here that he's down 15 laps.
Well, he spent a bit of time in the pits, and they click off pretty quick, don't they?
Yes. As a result of the accident that he was involved in, he did spend a good bit of time.
It looked like Rick Mast was lucky, Ned. I don't see any damage to that car.
It doesn't look like he hit anything hard, if he hit anything at all.
Well, maybe we can tell on a replay.
Well,
he's up there awful close, but
up on the outside of the track. Spins on around, does not hit the wall there, and here come the leaders. See, Sterling Marlin took the inside route. Jarrett and Wallace go up on the outside.
Man, we're watching the leaders now. Let's see how they react, because the spotter is telling them that a car is spinning up in the corner because they can't see anything. Now all of a sudden the spotters have told them that. They just hit the brakes, slow down, and try to figure out how they're going to dodge him. Fortunately, when they get there, they're going slow enough that they can turn above him.
They have to rely on their spotters to be their eyes out there in many, many instances. And there they are, perched high atop the press box here at Bristol. They tell the driver what's happening on the racetrack when the driver cannot see what's happening out there. Back in just a moment.
Looking for a great used car? Come to Hampton Nissan. They've got a large variety of good used cars, fully reconditioned with fair terms and warranties. Got bad credit, no credit, bankrupt? Having trouble with other car dealers turning you down for financing? At Hampton Nissan, no one will be turned away because of bad credit. They'll finance anyone on a fully reconditioned used car. So come to Hampton Nissan, Virginia's oldest Nissan dealer, and get a great deal on a used car. Visit Hampton Nissan at 2307 West Mercury Boulevard, Hampton. Ready, set, go. Go Karts Plus. Complete family entertainment at one convenient location. Figure 8 track, slick track, bumper boats, miniature golf, children's area, game room, and more. Bring your entire family out to Go Karts Plus for a rip-roaring good time. Go Karts Plus, located on Route 60 West, next to the Williamsburg Pottery. Open daily.
Major League excitement.
5 nights a week.
On ESPN.
It's opening day. The Florida Marlins play their first game ever as they battle the Dodgers. Then Doug Drabek leads the new-look Astros against the Phillies. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN.
Can you believe it's time for the Major League Baseball season to start already? And this is the place to be for Major League Baseball coverage. But also, the Stanley Cup playoffs are coming up. They start April the 20th, and ESPN will carry up to 37 games, including the Stanley Cup Finals. Here on ESPN, the place to be for all kinds of sports.
Bob, I tell you, it just doesn't seem right to be talking about baseball and ice skating in the same sentence.
This is the time of year, though, when you got basketball going on, you got baseball, you got hockey, you got racing, and the only thing not going on is football.
And if they had the World League,
yeah, we'd be doing that.
We'd be doing that.
Getting set up for a restart now.
And Jeff Gordon's going in the pits on the back straightaway.
Just as the cars get set to go green again, Gordon brings the DuPont Chevy in. on the
I bet
backstretch.
it feels like he had a flat tire. I saw him pull down to the inside of the track as he came down the front straightaway.
He's throwing water out of the car, some of our spotters have told us.
Here's a green flag. We're back to racing with 93 laps completed. Dale Jarrett is still the leader of the race. Rusty Wallace second. Michael Waltrip is third, and then Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine.
That's Phil Parsons that Earnhardt's on the outside of with Mannheim Auto Austin Chevrolet.
Gordon remains on the backstretch pit.
He has lost 2 laps already. The leading rookie contender this year and was certainly a contender in this race. He had moved up through the field very nicely.
Had a good run going last week at Darlington until a crash sidelined him. Mechanical problems are bothering him here at Bristol.
Sterling Marlin in the blue and white 8, he made a pit stop. When he made his lap up, he made a pit stop. And under NASCAR rules, lap cars can go to the front. He made a pit stop, got 4 fresh tires, and pull right back up to the front of the pack.
There you can see that the hood is up on Gordon's car. John Kernan is making his way there, and we'll have a report in just a few minutes, but looks like it could be an overheating problem. Meanwhile, here's a battle for third position as Dale Earnhardt has taken the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet to the inside of Michael Waltrip in the 3rd and 4th turns, and Earnhardt gets the spot.
Rusty Wallace, while that was going on, moved around Sterling Marlin. So now he has nothing but about 7 or 8 car lengths between he and Dale Jarrett. And here comes Jeff Bodine. He wants to move into 4th place. Michael goes a little high, doesn't fight him too much. And Jeff Bodine goes around and takes over 4th.
So that moves Michael back to 5th, and now Brett Bodine, with whom you are running, or you were there for a while, is running in 6th. Let's go to John Kernan, who's made his way back to Jeff Gordon.
Bob, Jeff Gordon's crew has just finished their work for what they've been able to do right now. Ray Evernham and the crew have added water. The car definitely overheating. They pulled some tape off of the front grille, trying to get a little more air into the radiator. Now these guys, you got to give them the Hustle Award this week. That race car is the same car that Jeff had a wreck in and crashed the rear end last Sunday at Darlington. Sunday night, they took it back to the race shop and stripped it. Monday morning, put a new rear clip on it, and Ray told me it was ready to go to the racetrack on Wednesday.
Unfortunately, the overheating problem has put him several laps behind. As the action on the racetrack continues, Michael Waltrip continues to lose positions. Brett Bodine, Ernie Irvin, and Ricky Rudd have all moved past.
Yeah, Michael has been out there a long time on his tires, much longer than those that are passing him right now. In fact, he stopped at the same time that Dale Jarrett did, and he's about to be passed.
Into turn 1, side by side, and Rusty comes out with the lead.
Man, I tell you what, Rusty Wallace. I don't know who on this track will be able to race with me today, but right now we haven't found anyone.
He is fast.
So far, in the first 100 laps, we haven't found anyone that can race with him.
This is the same car, by the way, that he ran at Richmond and finished 2nd in. There's Dale Earnhardt.
He's a 3rd place car. There's 4th. Jeff Bodine, Ernie Irvin, Ricky Rudd, Brett Bodine, Michael Waltrip, Ernie Irvin.
See Mark Martin making a move down on the inside of Derek Cope back there. There he is, making the pass.
Despite the front end damage on that, here's Jimmy Spencer, and boy, is he moving through this field.
He sure is. He's been following Mark Martin. Here comes Kyle Petty. Remember, he's been in the pits. I got a report from the pits that some of his hood supports was rubbing the left front tire. So he's had to make a couple of pit stops on these caution flags to try to cure that problem.
This is the battle for 12th position here between Davey and Kyle.
Davey Allison's on 7 cylinders. Did we say that did, or?
I don't know if we said it. We had a report that he was on 7 cylinders, and Kyle just drives by on the straightaway. So apparently that is true. There goes Spencer around another car as he went around Derek Cope.
Rick Wilson is now right behind Davey Allison. There's Jimmy.
This is the same car John Kernan was talking about, Jeff Gordon. This is the same car that Spencer wrecked in Darlington last week. Talked to Jimmy Finnegan. They had a 24-hour job down at Bobby Allison Motorsports this week, trying to get that car ready to come up to Bristol.
Robbie Hillen now going back out after repairs on the Howling Myers Ford. Been in for many laps after being involved in an accident.
Mark Martin now right on the rear spoiler of the Pennzoil Pontiac driven by Michael Waltrip. Inside, Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford. The Olympic stain in-car camera. It too carries the number 7 on the dash.
He looks to the inside of Michael. Goes down, Michael gives him the racetrack, and Mark Martin takes that spot away.
Michael is not arguing with anybody that comes up on the inside of him. He knows that his tires are older than most other people out there, and therefore he can't keep up and allows them to pass.
There comes Spencer.
Boy, Jimmy Spencer has come through the field. Started 28th on the 25th lap. He was 22nd. 27th on lap 50, but then began to move up to 19th, and at the end of 111 laps has moved into the top 10.
If you wonder how he went backwards, he spun. Remember, up in 3 and 4, he spun out.
Ooh, he
lost
tried
a
to
lap.
spin again. He and Kyle Petty touched coming off the turn. Both of them did a good job of hanging on and not losing control.
This is another situation where Kyle Petty has better tires on his car than Spencer does on his Ford.
Here it is coming off the corner.
Oh, Spencer gets it out of control. Kyle Petty never touched him, but Kyle was trying to dodge because he felt like Spencer was going to lose control.
And the word we get is that Spencer may be having some brake problems, and I don't think that's probably one of the things that you would relish about driving on this racetrack.
No, you don't use the brakes a great deal going into the turns here at Bristol, but certainly if you need to slow down in a hurry, well, you need those brakes.
There is Kyle getting the left side tires down on the apron of the track, but taking the spot away from Jimmy Spencer. The lead continues to be held by Rusty Wallace. Jarrett is second, followed by Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, and Ernie Irvin.
Nice to have you over here in the States.
The incredible thing is the different concept on ovals, isn't it?
Some people just can't get it right. 4 champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
You got to stay flat out.
Sounds rather appealing.
Well, it is if you win.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf.
I'm wide open all the time.
The only way to do it.
Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Why do you go anti-clockwise?
You're in a foreign country, boy.
Welcome to Napa, America's most complete source for quality auto parts and accessories. And now get hot spring buys at Napa. Quality Napa motor oil just 99 cents a quart. Get 2 Napa Silverline oil filters just $4. STP oil treatment is free after double mail-in rebate. And don't miss this special value. Napa's 5-piece cooler combo just $19.99. Save big on hot spring buys now at Napa, America's first choice.
You're looking sharp. You've come so far. And we know how to make the most of who you are.
Only Gillette Sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that adjust to your face. A shave this close, this safe was never this easy. Sensor. And now there's Gillette Shaving Gel with advanced lubricants for an incredibly smooth shave.
Gillette, the best a man can get.
This week on Speed Week, we'll have highlights of the Indy cars at Phoenix, NASCAR at Bristol, and a USAC doubleheader from Winchester. Speed Week, Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern. ESPN Speed World today in Bristol, Tennessee. The top 5 after 125 of 500 laps in the Food City 500. Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, and Ricky Rudd.
There's our leader, Rusty Wallace. And Ned, I was doing a little informal research this morning down in the garage area, and Rusty Wallace has more gear ratio in his car than anybody else out there.
Which means you're turning the engine more RPMs.
They say he's probably turning 9,000 RPMs. Wow.
Man. Here's a battle for position. This is the 6th spot, which has just been taken by Mark Martin, who passed Jeff Bodine.
And Jeff Bodine was fourth when we went to break just a moment ago, so he's falling back. Rudd, Irvin, and now Mark Martin's got by.
In 1992, Jeff was the strongest on the short tracks, 4 top 5s and 2 wins in the 8 short track races that were held last year.
Those 2 wins came at Martinsville and North Wilkesboro.
Back-to-back on Mondays.
Yep, that's right. We'll be there in a few weeks.
Yep. See the damage there on the right front of that number 6 car that doesn't seem to be slowing it much.
That's the concern that I would have is, as Jerry Punch pointed out, visibility. Can Mark Martin see over the hood well enough? Because we can see how the hood's pushed up. And when he tries to get alongside these guys and gets very close to them, can he judge his distance as well with that hood up like he?
There's the 42 of Kyle Petty. And that car is one of the fastest on the racetrack.
Yes, it is. He has been picking off one and then the other. He's coming up on Jeff Bodine right now. He had made those pit stops and really has come back up through the field.
Boy, that's a great shot, isn't it, from the Family Channel blimp?
Sure is. And you can see the new concrete speedway around here. Remember, we had trouble a couple of races here with the pavement coming up, so Larry Carey went and put cement all the way around this half-mile racetrack.
Jerry Punch has a comment on Jeff Bodine.
Well, a minute ago, we were asking the question about what's the problem with the car number 15. I spoke with Donnie Wingo, who said that Jeff apparently has a problem getting in the corner. The car gets very loose going into the corner, and here at Bristol, you don't want a loose race car diving in the corner. You'll end up backing it into the concrete.
There we see Jeff Bodine get alongside Wally Dallenbach. There's another Napa Field summary. We see our leader, Rusty Wallace, Jarrett Earnhardt, Urban, and Rudd.
According to my calculations, Dale is about 1 3/4 seconds behind the leader.
Mark Martin closing up in the back of Ricky Rudd.
Just right on the back bumper of the Ted Musgrave car. There is Ernie Irvin having a good run here at Bristol.
So it looked like that the team was able to install that new engine and everything worked out well.
Sterling Marlin remains several laps behind, involved in an incident up in turn 3 earlier in the day. Had to come in for some repairs. He finds just ahead of him Dale Earnhardt, who is 3rd in the standings at the moment. Last week's winner at Darlington and the current points leader. There is 2nd place, Dale Jarrett, putting a lap on the 20 car of Joe Ruttman.
And boy, when they get up on that high side of the racetrack, they just got to tiptoe around there because they know if they get just a couple of inches too high, that car will break loose with them and they'll be gone.
Joe is 19th currently, Joe Ruttman in the number 20 car.
That's the Dick Moroso automobile sponsored by Fina Lou.
And there is the interval between 1st and 2nd as Rusty Wallace, the pole sitter, looking for $60,800 in added bonus money from Unocal, continues to lead this race.
Mark Martin has gotten himself on the 5-position scoreboard here at Bristol, moved into 5th place, moved around Ricky Rudd a lap ago.
Here's his brother, Kenny Wallace, directly in front of Rusty. That's the Dirt Devil Pontiac, one of Felix Sabata's team.
I don't know if you've ever seen the relatively new program that's on CBS called How'd They Do That? It's kind of an interesting program. Well, they shot a piece recently on his crash at Daytona and the rebuilding of the car and how it survived and everything. So it should be quite interesting. That'll be coming up in a few weeks on the CBS program, How'd They Do That?
Here's Derek Cope in car number 98, Davey Allison, and Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell Waltrip started last, moved to 16th by the 45th lap, 14th by the 75th lap, moved down to 16th at 105, and at 142 laps is running in 14th position.
Darrell's trying to get that high groove worked out because as far back as he is, he realizes that he's going to need to go to the outside. Here he goes trying to get on the outside of Davey Allison. Just can't get alongside.
And I'm sure that the team has told him that Rusty Wallace is coming up behind him. Rusty's about a straightaway behind this group of cars that we're watching right now, so they want to move on. They don't want to get a lap down.
There we see Darrell once again He goes in the corner on the outside of Davey, but he just can't make the pass, can't get off the corners with enough acceleration to go by Davey.
Now maybe as he comes a little bit closer.
There's a slow car, Jimmy Meads. Ooh, that was close. Darrell Wisely backed off.
Bobby Labonte went very high down in turns 1 and 2. He gathered the car back in. No incident, but he almost hit the wall.
Darrell Waltrip has won 12 times on this racetrack, including every single race for 3 straight years.
And you can see Darrell just trying so hard to work out that high groove for himself so he can pass some of these cars. He knows that he can't run in the same tracks as everyone else and get to the front, but he's not having a lot of success in doing it. There's Jerry Cope in the Bojangles Ford directly in front of Davey.
Rusty Wallace is 2.6 seconds behind Darrell Waltrip, and here is the battle for 5th and 6th position. Ernie Irvin and Ricky Rudd.
Boy, from that height, the banking looks flat, doesn't it? Here's Rudd moving inside of Ernie and taking over 5th position.
Lake Speed coming back out. Bobby Hillen was out for a while. Now he is back behind the wall again.
That is a really neat shot because the banks do look flat, don't they?
They do. 36 degrees from inside that race car. They do look flat.
Now Dale Jarrett stopped at lap 28, guys. He has run 122 laps since then. So he'll have a pit stop coming up before too long. Maybe another 40 laps or something.
And then we see the McDonald's Ford coming back on the apron of the racetrack.
5th, 6th, and 7th right there. Meanwhile, the leader, Rusty Wallace, is in a whole bunch of traffic. He has Jeff Gordon just ahead of him. Also, Rick Mast is up there, Rick Wilson, Wally Dallenbach, and Morgan Shepherd.
Wow, did you see the 22 car of Bobby Labonte, those new tires?
Right. He has just been in the pits. I mentioned that he got
a spin in turn 3.
Rick Wilson has spun right in front of the leader.
He slides down off the banking, right through the groove, and everybody misses him. But he has damaged the rear end of the STP Pontiac considerably.
Man, I tell you what. How in the world these guys running this fast and somebody go up the racetrack and back across the racetrack and no one hit him? Man.
Rick was 16th when the accident occurred. Here it is again.
Here we see Bobby Labonte and Rick Wilson already in trouble up against the wall. The car's sliding. He's on the brakes, but the bank will not hold. The car just has to come back down. Believe it or not, all the cars got by safely.
And pit stops occurring here on the main straightaway. Here's Jerry.
Rusty Wallace, the Miller Genuine Pontiac driver, our leader. He gets the first pit stall. Crew having already changed right side tires. Buddy Parrott, Brad the crew, now changing left side tires. They check the grill, clean the windshield. 16.1 seconds. The prediction was a sub 16-second pit stop, and he almost did it. Let's go over to John Kernan. John.
Jerry, I'm on the back stretch. Last week we told you under caution what a disadvantage it was to pit here. Dale Jarrett has just come into the pits as Rusty Wallace is now passing him, entering turn 3. Right sides are on. Jimmy Makar and the crew going to work. Left side's coming off. Kyle Petty is out. Dale Earnhardt is out. Ernie Irvin, Ricky Rudd already out. Left side tires are on for Dale Jarrett. He goes down pit road, and Jeff Bodine will pass by.
We almost saw a sub 16-second pit stop. 16.1 was what we clocked the Rusty Wallace crew on that effort. Tremendous job. We're under caution here at Bristol International Raceway.
Kimbrel Construction.
Lunchtime already. That's why my stomach is talking to me.
I smell fries.
I'm out, y'all. Wait, James, bring me back a Big Mac extra value meal.
Make that two.
I'm popping for Kiki.
I can't exploit your manhood like that, my brother.
And McDonald's prices exploit me.
No, Chuck, I got it.
Allow me.
Could have been the Mickey D's and back by now, y'all.
To make the most of your money, get a whole lot of the food you love in a McDonald's extra value meal.
My treat.
Lunch money.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Man, we're out here to test. Nothing but rain. Hey, where's Mario?
2 champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
I hear your power is looking good for you this year.
It's unbelievable.
Must run pretty hot in a tight draft, though.
Got that pretty well beat.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf.
Yeah, I'm wide open all the time.
The only way to do it.
Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Quit raining, please.
Welcome back to live coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Food City 500 from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. We're under caution because of an incident involving Rick Wilson in car number 44. The incident up between turns 3 and 4. Watch the left side of your screen.
Don't look like anything hit him. Just looked like he lost control, does it, Ned?
The back end just went out from under him all of a sudden. Whether the tire went down or what happened, we don't know, but it just went out from under him. And
some cars go high, some go low, but everybody misses him. And when they came in for a pit stop, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac crew did an unbelievable job. 16.1 seconds is what we timed the pit stop at. Let's time it again with the crew cam worn by Todd Perry.
Okay, the car stopped. Jack goes up, rear tire. This is Todd helping out. He goes around, makes sure everything's okay on the left side. Helps with the left rear. Down it goes.
Well, it was maybe 0.3 of a second slower on that particular time.
The numbers don't matter.
That's right.
Because I'm telling you, everybody else was on the jack when he drove away.
That's right.
Every other team on the racetrack was on the jack.
It's nice to see a 16-second pit stop, and when you're a second and a half or 2 seconds faster than anybody else, that's what counts. We'll be back in just a moment.
At 180 miles an hour, Darrell Waltrip can't afford a bad part.
Ouch, man, that hurt. Like you, I need quality parts at the right price. And at Western Auto, we guarantee it. You'll find thousands of top name brand parts, all backed by Western Auto's unbeatable everyday low price guarantee. Right?
Right, DW. Pick up Haviland Formula 3 motor oil at Western Auto's unbeatable low price. Add more life to your car with Haviland Formula 3.
The right parts, unbeatable low prices. At Western Auto, we guarantee it.
Right, DW.
There was one thing about Bud that we kept hearing over and over.
Now that's fresh beer.
Huh?
Okay, let's say this is the original Budweiser brewery in St. Louis. There's another one in Texas.
And 2 more in Florida.
New York, California,
New Jersey.
Over a dozen of them.
So Budweiser doesn't have to truck their beer clean across the country.
So you know it's fresh.
Right.
Is that my beer in New Jersey?
The time has finally come for the cordless power roller from Wagner. Now you control the flow of paint, so the Wagner power roller can cut jobs in half. Smoothly and evenly, it can cover areas twice as fast. And cleanup is a snap, so you can finish one job and do another. Get your hands on a real value, because the value of Wagner keeps on rolling.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, still under caution. Take a look at a minute ago what happened on pit road. We saw that fast pit stop from Rusty Wallace. Take a look at what happened to Dale Earnhardt. Left side of the car has been jacked up. He is blocked in. Now Mark Martin is already leaving the pits. Dale Earnhardt has to back up, and he lights the tires up trying to get off of pit road. A very close quarters here in the pits. It cost Earnhardt about 5 extra seconds. Getting set to go back to green. Bob?
Green is out. Rusty Wallace is at the front of the field. Mark Martin is second. Kyle Petty third, Dale Earnhardt, and Ernie Irvin.
I'm real interested to see this race because Mark Martin has been fast. We haven't found anybody today that could race with Rusty Wallace. Can Mark Martin do it? We're going to find out in the next few laps.
Well, this is the first time that Mark Martin has had this kind of track position. He had a tremendous pit stop. Came in fifth and came out second.
The Olympic staying in car being carried by Mark Martin. He's within about 2 car lengths of the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Tell you what, he's not running all over him, is he?
Nope.
fact, I think we are seeing Rusty Wallace pull away from him also.
Rusty's not only fast in the pits, he's fast on the racetrack.
That's right.
Of course, he's proven that already today.
Tell you what, guys, I don't think we've still found anybody can race with Rusty Wallace today.
Nope. Not at the moment. Here's Morgan Shepherd, Kenny Wallace, and Jimmy Spencer battling it out.
Now Wallace is a lap down. You can see those cars, how much they move around.
Morgan goes in on the high side. You can see just real tentative up on the top side of the racetrack.
Morgan is running in 14th position. There's Davey Allison right behind him. He's in 15th.
And he's the last car on the lead lap. There are 15 cars on the lead lap currently.
And as you indicated, Kenny Wallace is a lap down. Here is Ernie Irvin going to the inside of Dale Earnhardt and taking over 4th position.
Boy, Earnhardt seems to be having a little bit of a problem now. Maybe that set of tires he put on is not to his liking. Whatever, but he went high and Irvin just went right under him, and now Irvin is pulled away from him.
He's not able to keep the car on the bottom of the racetrack yet. Watch Earnhardt when he goes in the corner. The car goes up in the middle. Looks like the car has picked up a substantial push. I saw the crew making an adjustment on the left rear of the car. They were taking wedge out, so evidently he was pushed a little bit before that last pit stop.
Dale's best finish in 1992 was 2nd here in August, and we'll watch his line around this half-mile racetrack from the Family Channel blimp.
All right, we're going down the back straightaway. This is, and see how high he's going up?
But he's not going as high now as he did before. I think he's slowing it down a little bit going into the turns to keep from going as high as he went there for a few laps.
So the only way you could cure that problem is to slow down a little bit going in the corner. But unfortunately, when you do that, you slow down. Jared, you have anything for us?
Benny, you're exactly right. Earnhardt has a severe push in the front of that Goodwrench Chevrolet. They came on the pit road last time. They pulled the left front fender away, and they made a significant wedge adjustment, as you said, in the car, hoping to fix it. Actually, it's gotten worse. So he's having to slow down a little bit and bide his time and maybe wait for a yellow flag.
We talked about the cars that are behind the wall and out of the race. The car number 68 of Bobby Hamilton, we mentioned earlier, has gone out with an engine problem. Ken Schrader went out with the wreck. He is definitely out. The 2 other cars still being worked on, we understand. That's Harry Gant and the car number 44 of Rick Wilson. But both of those cars had a lot of damage from wrecks.
There is Rusty, the leader. In 1992, he posted his only win of the season on the short track at Richmond. And the interval between the two is really stabilized. Rusty is pulled away to maybe a second or a second and a half advantage over Mark, and that's where they continue to run as they move through traffic. There is Lake Speed.
Kyle Petty is 3rd, Ernie Irvin 4th, Dale Earnhardt is 5th, Ricky Rudd is 6th, Dale Jarrett is 7th. Darrell Waltrip now has moved into 8th. Jeff Bodine is sort of going backwards after that pit stop.
And Jerry has an update on that story.
I just talked to Harold Scott here in the Motorcraft pit, who told me that Jeff Bodine has a skipping problem. The motor is missing. He has gone up to full speed, and certainly out here on this short racetrack with these kind of speeds, that makes you almost a sitting duck to be passed pretty easily in the corner.
You don't have that power coming off of those turns. It is tough to stay ahead of someone.
Great shot from the bumper cam. There's Mass sliding in.
There we see Jeff on the bottom of the racetrack. Michael Walker trying to go by on the outside.
Now, Michael was one of those that benefited from this last caution flag. He, like Dale Jarrett, had pitted at lap 28, so they were both getting ready for a pit stop, and the caution helped both of them.
Now Mark Martin is right on the spoiler of Rusty Wallace, as Wallace got a little loose.
And a little loose that time, Bob, getting off turn 2. Yep. So, look at Martin coming on the inside. Rusty is very loose, and Martin just blows right on by and takes over the lead.
Wow, nice move by Mark Martin. Let's see what happens. He was trying to lap a slower car. That's the 20 car.
Oh, man. That's a 52 car of Jimmy Means. And Rusty goes up. Look, it looks like he had a flat tire or something, Ned.
Well, he's wondering himself if maybe he might have cut that tire down. But after he rides a few laps here, and if it stays up, everything's okay, well, then he'll probably pick back up speed, and it looks like he has done that. But he had to be riding, wondering what was going on back there. Did he cut that tire down? Did he knock a quarter panel in against the tire? But everything looks okay.
So the new leader of the Food City 500 is Mark Martin over Rusty Wallace. We'll be back with more of our live coverage right after this.
This weekend at Haynes, do bring money. Save up to 50% off retail prices store-wide. But do bring money. Because when you pay by cash or check, for the first time ever, you'll save even more, a lot more. An additional cash discount, so substantial in fact, we may never offer it again. This one and only weekend, save a fortune, while cash is king.
Every year, millions of gallons of motor oil are poured down drains, dumped on the ground, and tossed into landfills. It's a crying shame for the environment and for everybody in it. That's why Advance Auto Parts provides free oil recycling at every store 7 days a week. Bring your used motor oil to Advance and make the future a cleaner, safer, happier place. For all of us.
It's all live tonight on ESPN.
I'm Jim Kelly at The Tradition. This was Gibby Gilbert's effort for his third eagle in yesterday's third round. He tapped in for a birdie. He and Tom Shaw tied for the top spot, but 10 golfers within 7 shots of the lead. Join us for the final round live coverage today at 5:30.
Mark Martin, who has never won here at Bristol, but who has 5 top 5 finishes, is the current leader of this race. There's Rusty Wallace in car number 2 running in second spot. High overhead from the Family Channel blimp, watching the action down below.
Rusty having some trouble getting by Joe Rutman. That's allowing Mark Martin to put 2 or 3 seconds on him.
You don't have to lift on that accelerator but just a little bit when you're up on the high side of another race car. And yeah, it is 1 or 2 seconds.
Here is the suspension cam on Mark Martin's car. Now, you can see several things. Yeah, watch the
when he goes in
springs.
the corner. Watch that. Man, oh man, can you see that spring compress as he goes through that corner?
And watch the tires. The shape of the tires change.
Well, I'll tell you, the tires really take a beating here as hard as they barrel into the turns. And the weight of that 3,500-pound race car is shifted right over there to that wheel.
Man, testimonial for Goodyear, who builds some fine tires to get these drivers on.
And to the ball joints and the A-frames, and all of the steering parts. Really,
it's just an awesome shot, isn't it?
That's why we call them, that's why they have to be race cars, because there's not a street car in the world that would take that kind of abuse.
Here's Martin moving to the inside of Wally Dallenbach Jr.
It's his team car, Wally Dallenbach. Both those cars owned by Jack Roush.
He puts him 2 laps down. Wally is 17th. Here's Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt.
Now, Earnhardt's going better now. Whatever that little problem he had there when we were watching him, he is picked up now, and if there was push in the car, it seems to have worked itself out, so he is on the move now.
Earnhardt back in 5th spot.
And when I say worked itself out, usually if you have a push, the longer you run, the tires get heated up a little bit, and then that push tends to go away. On most racetracks, every once in a while, especially on a flat racetrack, sometimes it can get worse. But on a high bank racetrack, it normally is a little bit better.
The 4 car of Ernie Irvan has closed in on the second place car of Rusty Wallace considerably in the last few laps. Now he's caught behind Wally Dallenbach Jr. and loses ground, but Ernie Irvan's got a pretty fast race car.
He's had an awfully fast race car. Just like you said, Bob, he's been gaining. We've been watching back in the field and what have you, but Ernie Irvan is coming.
Here's somebody else that's coming, gaining the ground that he lost. Dale Earnhardt knocking on the door for 4th. And there's the leader, Mark Martin.
Harry Gant is back in the Stoll Bandit Chevrolet. He's 166 laps down, but out there running as many laps as he can, pick up as many points as he can. Earnhardt takes over the position.
Dale Earnhardt moves to fourth, passing Kyle Petty.
We can see how much slower he's running on the racetrack, Earnhardt I'm talking about, than he did just a few laps ago, because Ned's right. See how close to that yellow line he is on the bottom of the racetrack? Those tires now, they've gotten worn. He's slowed down, he's adjusted to them. He's able to stay on the bottom.
His car, before they made the pit stop, was riding a little bit high on the older tires, and so they made that adjustment on it. And now, once he gets the tires worn down a little bit, it seems to really be working for him. I'm talking about Dale Earnhardt. Of course, what Mark Martin's crew have done to that Ford is working for him as well.
Now, his crew didn't do the front end of that. Mark did that himself, folks. He ran the back of someone, knocked the hood off. Some of the crew members said that car may look like their grandmother's car, but it's running great.
And that's all that counts.
They're not implying that a grandmother would have a bent fender.
No, absolutely.
No, I did not say that. Someone down there said something about that. I can repeat what I heard.
Okay. Now Ernie Irvin again is right on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace.
I think Rusty's car is a little bit too loose now, Ned.
Appears to be.
He's not able to get on the accelerator the way he was earlier. Just the reverse of Dale Earnhardt's problem. And here's Ernie. He's closed in right on the back bumper.
Whenever he has a run at Wallace, he's able to close in, but when they get strung out, now here is Irvin taking the position from Rusty. Rusty moved up and let Ernie go.
It could be that aerodynamics is playing, that they're running fast enough here, Ned, that aerodynamics is playing a role. Maybe when Ernie pulled up behind Rusty, it made his car a little bit looser, so he backed off to let Ernie go by.
I would say we talked about the speed on the straightaway here. Their average speed around the racetrack in qualifying was almost 122 miles an hour, and you do have to decelerate into both turns. So I would say we haven't had a gun on the cars on the straightaway, but I'd say they run 150, 155 miles an hour. So definitely draft will come into play.
And Rusty hasn't said a word.
Again in turn three. Dale Jarrett into the wall hard, backs in. Everybody else trying to get slowed down. Appears it'll be a one-car accident, but boy, Dale really went in hard.
Just stay there, Dale. Just stay right there and all these guys get by. Here comes Jeff Bodine trying to get a lap back. Morgan Shepherd. They all get a lap back.
Jarrett had moved up to 6th place.
He was running well.
He was really running good. He'd come out of the pits in 8th after the pit stops with them pitting on the backstretch.
Boy, a car can get out from under you so quickly here.
Is that what happened?
I didn't see it.
I caught it in the corner of my eye, and it just looked like it got out from under him.
Well, he's heading to the backstretch. He doesn't have very much steering on it. Martin coming into the pits.
Here comes Mark Martin, and let's go to Jerry Punch.
Our leader in a heavily damaged Valvoline Ford Thunderbird comes down pit road behind him. Also Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvin, and Dale Earnhardt. As the front four cars come down to get service from their crews, Martin will get a 4-tire change, as will Irvin, Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace. Right side tires going in. Left side tires coming out on the Mark Martin car. You'll be able to see now Mark Martin's crew working very diligently. Left side lug nuts on. Martin trying to get out. Here's Ernie Irvin. Here's Mark Martin spinning the car. And once again, Dale Earnhardt has to back up to be able to get off of pit road. And now he will follow the 42 car of Kyle Petty back to turn 1.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt was once again blocked in by Jeff Bodine, who was just in front. They had the hood up on the Bodine car. Took him a few more seconds to get his service finished.
And Brett Bodine, meanwhile, sitting on pit road, is about to get lapped.
Yeah, he continues to sit on pit road. There we see Brett. The car is down off the Jackson. He will get out and not lose a lap. We'll be right back.
Fast. Easy. You're done. Yeah. Beautiful. It's Kit. And it lasts.
Some fur. It's hot. Some fur. Fire. Everyone prefers. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's Scent.
Preferred stock cologne from Stetson. What preferred men prefer.
Burt Reynolds talks with the Quaker State team.
Hold on.
I got to get my name on the car. My fans are getting restless.
No room.
How about on the big Q?
The big Q stands alone. Stands for quality.
You can't get better protection.
No other oil beats Quaker State.
How about right here?
No way. Red doesn't like to be crowded.
My fans are getting demanding.
All right. We'll go get the painter.
I must have had a hard time finding a painter. Nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
If your diet routine has turned a shade too dark, open yourself up to a change. To Diet 7-Up, the Un-Cola. The Un that's light, clean, with no aftertaste. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, for the only true change from the cola thing, it's Diet 7-Up, the Diet Un-Cola. When you want the taste of Un, there's only one.
This week on Speed Week, we'll have highlights of the Indy cars at Phoenix, NASCAR at Bristol, and a USAC doubleheader from Winchester. Speed Week, Saturday night at 7:30 Eastern. The NASCAR Winston Cup Food City 500 from Bristol International Raceway coming to you live. We are under caution because of an incident up in turn 3 involving Dale Jarrett.
Here we see the guys changing left sides. And Martin has to turn a heavy right, but Earnhardt can't get out, has to back up once again because Jeff Bodine is right in front of him.
The second time that Dale has had to back up before going out.
Here we see Rusty Wallace on pit road. Here comes Ernie Irvin's going to come out second. Mark Martin third. Our leader goes from first to third. Here comes Kyle Petty. Earnhardt comes up fifth.
And overhead from the blimp, you can see how tight the pits are. There's Jeff Bodine moving into his pit space. And you can see that there is just no room for Dale to pull out. And so he has to back up.
One of the problems, Bodine's back end of his car was sticking so far out on pit road. He was legal as far as that part was concerned, but it was very tough for Earnhardt to get out.
Well, my apologies to Dale Jarrett. I said that it appears as if it just got out from under him. There was apparently some contact between Dale and Bobby Hillin Jr. because Dale went onto the racetrack in the caution period, and you can see what happened. Obviously, Dale
he was
not
very
smart about the situation.
A little angry with John with Bobby Hillin. John Kern, has he cooled down yet?
Well, Dale is discussing things along with crew chief Jimmy Maycar and a NASCAR official. Dale also getting some words of encouragement from some other crew members. And Dale, I know it's a tough time right now, but what happened out there?
It's the car that's laps down, an idiot. Drives off into the corner and ran into the side of me. That's all you can say, you know. People just don't use their heads sometimes. You know, if I've been in a wreck and I'm laps down, I try to give the guys, you know, there's not a lot of room here anyway. Obviously, he doesn't use his head. It's a shame. We had a fast race car, and takes us right out of the points and everything.
Dale Jarrett obviously very, very hot right now, guys. And, you know, this is typical of some short track racing. You see these guys, a lot of things happen very quickly out here. If a car doesn't get out of your way, then you're in the wall.
We see Bobby Hillin going down on the bottom of the racetrack. I don't know if he's going to let all the cars, I guess he's letting all the cars go by and falling in the behind.
Well, we, of course, are involved in the short track part of the Winston Cup season here. We'll be at North Wilkesboro, at Martinsville. And when we have these tight racetracks, you do have contact with other drivers, and very often tempers flare, and that's just part of the game.
Well, it is. It's tough to handle, but you need to really keep that temper down as much as you possibly can. Although I've been in those same positions, and it's hard to hold the temper when you have a good car and you're running good and something happens. But these things do happen on these, as you say, these type of racetracks.
Up front, Ernie Irvin underneath. Yeah, Ernie Irvin is knocking on Rusty Wallace's back bumper. It's really a three-car battle as Mark Martin comes up.
But once again, we saw Mark Martin earlier. In 10 or 15 laps, he stayed about this relative position behind Rusty Wallace, but in a few laps, he's able to, after the tires got good hot, Mark Martin able to go to the front. But we'll see if he can do it again. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt took over fourth spot from Kyle Petty.
Kyle is fifth, Ricky Rudd is sixth, Earl Waltrip now in seventh position, Hopper Waltrip in eighth.
Again, we don't see anybody that's able to run with Rusty Wallace at this point because he is staying about 2 car lengths ahead of Ernie Irvin, and Ernie staying just about that distance ahead of third place Martin. 220 laps completed. We're nearing the halfway point of this Food City 500. Rusty is the leader. Back after these messages.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed Splitfire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sports Stick. An aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
227 out of 500 laps completed in the NASCAR Winston Cup Food City 500. The top 5, Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, and Kyle Petty. Our Speed World coverage of this NASCAR event is being brought to you by Kit Car Wax. Goes on fast, wipes off easy. Shine and protection that lasts. Still a 3-car battle up front. Wallace, Irvin, and Martin. Not too far behind in 4th position, although almost a full straightaway. Kyle Petty and Dale Earnhardt.
And Kyle Petty just went back around Dale Earnhardt the last lap. Now Earnhardt trying to go back around him. They're 4th and 5th. Ricky Rudd is 6th. Darrell Waltrip is 7th. I left out Derek Cope a moment ago. He is currently being shown in 8th, and the Bojangles 4th.
Here's how Kyle got the spot.
Got position on Earnhardt. Evidently, Dale Earnhardt lost a little traction coming off turn 4. Gave Kyle a run. And here goes Earnhardt back by.
Kyle just moved up and let him go. I think Kyle realized the reason that he was able to get around Earnhardt. He caught him when then he perhaps broke traction just for a little bit. So he came back up and Kyle realized he was a little bit faster than him, so he let him go.
While we have the opportunity here, let us salute a couple of people. First of all, NASCAR Winston Cup director Gary Nelson and his wife had a little baby last night. William Arnold, who checked in at 7 pounds 8 ounces, 19.5 inches long, born yesterday at Presbyterian Hospital in Charlotte. And Bill France Jr., the president of NASCAR, celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Bill. Should we tell how old he is?
No. Okay. Don't do it. Because it's one of those zeros, man. This is rough. Here comes Mark Martin trying to close in on the back of Ernie Irvin.
Our Olympic stain in-car camera being carried by Mark Martin.
Well, Bill France Jr. is approximately the same age as me, and I'm 60.
Well, that narrows it down, doesn't it? Thank you, Ned.
Now Mark has got to try to get by Ernie before he get back to Rusty. And that might be pretty tough.
Rusty, meanwhile, is approaching Joe Ruttman and Kenny Wallace.
I think you're right. After Mark Martin runs for 15 or 20 laps, the car really starts coming in.
Yeah, those guys are able to outrun him for about 10 or 15 laps. Right now, he is as fast as anyone on the racetrack. He looks inside. Ernie, he's alongside Ernie Irvin.
He's got him. Mark Martin moves to 2nd.
Mark who?
Easy for me to say, huh? Rusty's in traffic. Mark's going to be able to close in for the moment. Rusty heads to the high side of the racetrack to pass Joe Ruttman.
Let's Mark have the bottom line, the preferred group. We can see how much time that he made up, how many car lengths and Mark Martin closed in. Now Mark has to pass on the outside.
And Rusty got back to the inside, so that distance will widen out once again. Of course, now Rusty passing his brother, which he shouldn't have much problem, passing Kenny Wallace in the Dirt Devil Pontiac.
Kenny is 17th.
They have to go in the corner, come up. Just barely missed the other car. Just barely missed Kenny Wallace. Now he tries to get in the corner, tries to get as low as he can. They'll come off the corner right on the bottom.
Well, even though they're getting the passover flag when they come around, that means move to the inside of the racetrack, let the leaders go. It still is a tough pass because the outside groove is not nearly as fast as that inside groove, and you really have to be very careful up there, and they lose a lot of time when they pass a car. I've been clocking some of them, and it'll be from a half to a second a lap that they lose when they get up on the outside of a car, and it's a car that's not even battling them forward.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
just moving out of the way and giving them racing room.
Even though there's a tremendous speed differential between the car passing and the one being passed, it's still difficult to get around. Well, Rusty Wallace is in command here at Bristol as we continue our live coverage of the Food City 500. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and me. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Beer.
At Yamaha, we've always left the competition in the dust. And now it's time they took a bath. Introducing the Yamaha Pro VXR, the world's leading personal watercraft. When it comes to acceleration, we're flat out better.
Major League excitement.
By next week
on ESPN.
It's opening day. The Florida Marlins play their first game ever as they battle the Dodgers. Then Doug Drabek leads the new-look Astros against the Phillies. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPN.
Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
It shouldn't surprise anyone that when your car owner is an NFL head football coach, part of preparing for a Winston Cup race involves practice. Here at Joe Gibbs Racing, that means pit stop practice, which serves three purposes. Number one, not only to get better on those Sunday afternoon pit stops, but also to have a second string or second team in case someone were to get hurt, they could fill in. And also here at Joe Gibbs, a couple of the guys' wives are expecting babies. They want to be ready to have someone fill in when they have to leave on a Sunday afternoon. Let's watch. Good, isn't it?
Wow, that's how it's done. I love the sound of a pit stop, too.
I do, too. And, you know, it's great that we don't have all the car noise above it.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's very quiet because you have the impact wrench and everything else. And look here, Mark Martin closing in right on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace.
They make a lap around the shop, I understand, to set up the thing.
To come into the pit stop.
Yeah. Mark Martin running in second position to Rusty Wallace, and Mark is right there with Rusty. Here's a Fran Field summary. How Well, the cars were running last lap. We have moved past the halfway point. We've completed 255 of the 500 laps. You can see 13 cars are now on the lead lap, with Brett Bodine, who is currently 14th, started second position, being the first car a lap down.
Mike mentioned that Rick Wilson is back out in the Richard Petty STP Pontiac. He was in for major long repairs after he got into the wall.
And I'll tell you what, Mark Martin is being held up right now, but he's trying to come on the inside.
The crowd rose to its feet here on the main straightaway. The fans are up cheering, and they're now seeing Mark Martin take the lead away from Rusty.
And we can watch Mark Martin already put a car linked on him.
Here's Morgan Shepherd and Davey Allison in the battle for 11th position.
And they aren't too far ahead of the leader, Bob. They're running as hard as they can to try to stay out in front and stay in the lead lap. In fact, Mark Martin is coming up on Jeff Bodine, the last car in the lead lap, currently running in the 13th position.
And you know, of all the victories that the Wood brothers have experienced in their long association in Winston Cup racing, they've never won a race here. And there is the leader, and you can see how close those cars are to being lapped.
There's Jeff Bodine. They had the hood up on that car on the pit stops, trying to cure that mist that Jerry Punch was talking about. It doesn't appear as though they've been successful.
Jeff Bodine and Ted Musgrave remain between Mark Martin and Davey.
Oh, and Ernie Irvin spins hard and crashes in the wall up in turn 1. There he is.
Bristol bites another top contender.
So this will save Jeff Bodine, Davey Allison, Morgan Shepherd from going a lap down.
Ernie Irvin, who was running third, crashes into the second turn wall.
He's driving the car away. I just saw the tail end of it. I was kind of like you a while ago, Bob. I just saw the tail end of it, and I don't know.
And I might say you almost scared me to death. Yelled.
Sorry about that.
Do that.
You can see a good bit of damage done to the left rear quarter panel. They'll be able to pull that out and keep him going. Don't know how competitive the car might be, because it's probably bent the rear clip. Now pit stop time.
This is the 8th caution of the day. Mark Martin has found his pits. Jerry Punch is there.
Lap 263, and Rusty Wallace brings the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac on the pit road, taking a look at his crew going to work. 6th at the top of your street, Mark Martin, Valvoline Ford. On the bottom of your street, the Pontiac being serviced. Left side tires now going on Rusty Wallace's car. Left side tires likewise on Mark Martin's Ford Thunderbird. Wallace's car is down and away in 17.4 seconds. Here is Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty in that order back on the speedway.
Ricky Rudd also pulling out. Davey Allison is away, so is Michael Waltrip. The Citgo Ford of Morgan Shepherd remains on pit road. Now it's down off the jacks and is moving. The Ernie Irvin car has been pulled behind the wall to get some repairs. And here is Irvin's mishap in replay. I don't know, did he get touched there by that white car?
I don't know if he did or not. Was that still hard to tell? Let's see. Let's back it up. Back it up. Doesn't look like it.
Right at the bottom right corner of your screen.
I don't know.
It's hard to say from that angle and shot. In any case, Irvin did slide up to the wall and damages the Kodak film Chevrolet. He's behind the wall. We're under our 8th caution of the day, and we'll be back in a moment.
Burt Reynolds for Quaker State.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. You know, when it comes to protecting against friction, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to protecting against viscosity breakdown, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to keeping engines clean, nothing beats Quaker State. Take it from me, for unbeatable protection, nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Isn't that a lot better than looking at a bunch of mechanics? Hi, race fans. Steve Forrest here from Victory Lane Race Fan Store. Come in and check out the new 93 line of officially licensed NASCAR merchandise for all your favorite drivers. And get ready for Richmond with our complete line of race supplies, including a full line of Bearcat scanners and accessories. Like the man says,
everything for the race fan. Victory Lane Race Fan Store. It's like being on the team.
Down on the beach all day.
A wet and wild way to spend a weekday. The World Jet Ski Finals and Wyland Pro Surfing. Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Back at Bristol, still under caution. Work going on the Kodak Film Chevrolet, driven by Ernie Irvin, who crashed running third. Here's Jerry.
Trying to repair the Kodak Chevrolet. Ernie still sitting in the car. Ernie, what happened up there?
Well, I was passing 75 car on the outside, and you know, I don't know if I come down on him or he just got up into me, but you know, just one of them deals. There are a lot of cars running around slow, and this racetrack's too narrow for that.
Ernie Irvin, short and sweet, but apparently his car looped into the wall. Heavy damage on both the front and rear of this Kodak Chevrolet. No chance at victory. They're going to try to get it back in and get some valuable Winston Cup points. We are under caution here at Bristol International Raceway. 267 laps in the books. Back with more after this.
Here we go again, guys. Wow, I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years, no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas. I feel good. Yeah. Daytona. I would now. LA. Wherever we're going. Super. Yeah. And we're not even tired.
Burt Reynolds for Quaker State.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. You know, when it comes to protecting against friction, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to protecting against viscosity breakdown, nothing beats Quaker State. When it comes to keeping engines clean, nothing beats Quaker State. Take it from me, for unbeatable protection, nothing beats Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Fire from beneath the mountains gave the land its richness, and the land gave the richness to the coffee of Colombia. That's why Maxwell House uses more Colombian beans than anyone in America, because better beans make better coffee. The coffees of Maxwell House, blended with rich Colombian beans, always good to the last drop.
Just as you rejoin us, we go back to green. With Rusty Wallace leading now Dale Earnhardt, who's in second position, and Mark Martin in third.
Has Dale Earnhardt led this race yet today?
That's exactly what I was thinking, Ned. I don't believe so. I don't believe that he has led the race yet.
So he's going to get 5 bonus points.
No, he has not. Nope. Wallace, Martin, Jarrett, Michael, Brett, Shepard, Allison, and Jeff have all led laps, but not Earnhardt. So he needs the 5 points.
And I tell you what, it doesn't look like he's going to have enough strength to go up and pass Rusty Wallace to lead the race. We can see that Rusty already put a couple of car links on him.
He has led the most laps. He's led 179 so far, and Mark Martin has led the second most number of laps, 36.
Derek Cope. Oh, here's a crash. That's the 8 car.
Sterling Marlin is into the wall.
No, still no caution flag.
Yeah,
we can see some damage to the right front.
That's the second accident he's been involved in. Jerry, did you see that down there?
Bob, it happened right in front of us here, Bob, on the front straightaway. Sterling Marlin trying to go around the car number 20 of Joe Ruttman. They came together. Marlin's car veered directly up against the wall, tagged the concrete. He kept the car up on the high groove out of the traffic lane, and thus we have no caution.
And he has taken the Rebestas car behind the wall down at the entrance to pit road here on the front stretch. And so they'll go to work on that car. No caution, though. 275 laps are in the books. And boy, it is a good battle up front.
Mark Martin has caught Dale Earnhardt.
And Earnhardt is right behind Wallace.
Well, Martin has spent been working on Earnhardt for the last couple of laps. Earnhardt pulls down to the inside of the racetrack, lets Martin go up on the outside.
This is the battle for second. Martin to the outside, Earnhardt to the inside.
And a spin. Bobby Labonte spins over in turn 2. Just goes up, maybe touches the wall a little bit, not much.
Just barely grazed it. He's headed the wrong direction at the entrance to the backstretch.
Careful, boys, careful. Woo! Man, oh man, here's Brett Bodine trying to get a lap back.
He's racing Rusty Wallace hard. He gets down to the inside. They touch and Brett spins right in front of Mark Martin, but he spins to the inside of the racetrack.
Stop it right there. Don't hit. He didn't hit a thing. Perfect.
So it really didn't cost him very much. He lost some track position. He didn't get the lap back. He tried hard enough.
Well, he's got the car fired now. He puts it in first gear, so he'll be able to drive away.
Well, here is the last lap. Now let's watch what Brett Bodine does when the accident occurs.
Okay, the spin had already happened. You saw Bobby Labonte's car, and here comes Brett Bodine in the green car on the outside of Earnhardt, on the inside of Mark Martin. Races hard off of turn 4, trying to get under Rusty Wallace, and they touch a little bit, and just enough to send Brett around.
So Brett Bodine doesn't get the lap back, spins in the process. We'll take another break and be right back with more from Bristol.
People that first come to Subway are a little surprised we don't have sandwiches ready, just fresh bread. That's so you can see your sandwich being made and tell me if you like onions, tomatoes, or even hot peppers. I'm not a mind reader, and there's lots to choose from. If your sandwich looks as good as it tastes, that's because Subway has a training center where experts like Mr. Pilchin teaches the art of making beautiful sandwiches. He calls himself an art teacher. I guess that makes me a sandwich artist.
Ask a sandwich artist to make you a 6-inch tuna sub, just $1.89 for a limited time at Subway.
Nature can be devastating to wood. All-purpose water sealer's waterproof. So does Olympic WaterGuard for wood. But only Olympic has sunblock protection to fight sun damage. Plus resists mildew and has penetrating linseed oil to strengthen wood fibers. Olympic WaterGuard with 4-way wood protection. Because wood needs more than an all-purpose water sealer.
The 3M Filtrete Clean Air Filter gets more of the small stuff that's in your air out. Stuff an ordinary furnace and air conditioner filter would miss. Like more of the dust. More of the pollen and mold. More of these particles that could irritate your allergies. It even gets more animal dander. Try the Filtrete Clean Air Filter. It gets more of the aggravating things in your air out. Even smoke. Look for the 3M Filtrete Clean Air Filter wherever you buy furnace or air conditioner filters.
The Family Channel blimp is providing the aerial coverage for today's race. It's currently on a 93 Goodwill tour, making a number of appearances at sporting events, concerts, and fairs across the country. This thing measures 132 feet in length and has a capacity to accommodate up to 4 passengers with the pilot, Steve Tomlin. Now, here's how Brett Bodine's incident looked from the blimp.
There he goes on the inside of Mark, as Ned said. Here's Rusty Wallace. Now, Brett tries to get alongside, drives on the apron of the racetrack. It's too flat down there, loses control, loops around, stops her just in the nick of time. Jerry Punch.
Brett Bodine made 2 pit stops, 2 caution flags ago. The second pit stop, a lengthy one to adjust the Panhard bar because the car was so loose. That put him at the back of the field, thus got him caught in traffic, got him lapped. So he is a lap down, but he has a very fast race car. We're going green.
The green flag comes out. Brett Bodine, by the way, is shown in 13th position as the green comes out, and Rusty leads them down again, followed by Martin and Earnhardt.
Now, these cars did not hit this caution flag. Only a few laps since the last caution flag. They made their pit stops, so no one pitted.
Kyle Petty is 4th, and Derek Cope is running in 5th spot. Good run for Derek today in the Bojangles car.
You know, Bob Johnson is the crew chief on that car, and he has had some fast race cars here at Bristol over the years. He just has a great setup for this racetrack. Of course, Derek Cope is a good race driver, so he's running the board well today.
Here's our Western Auto race summary. Rusty Wallace has led 184 to 275 laps. 12 cars are on the lead lap, and we've had 8 leaders, 12 lead changes, 8 caution periods, total 43 laps. The average speed is 86.61 miles an hour. Here are the drivers who have led. Rusty the most, followed by Martin, then Jarrett, who's out of the race. Michael Waltrip, and another crash. several cars involved.
Jeff Bodine runs right into his brother. He couldn't help it, of course.
Ted Musgrave was involved. Jeff Bodine, there's the damage on the front end of the motor track board.
And Michael Walker stalled his car. Well, he gets it going now. There, he's got a flat left rear tire is his problem. He can't get going.
Here's a replay.
Cars, this is going in turn 3. They come down the front straightaway. Now we see the Ted Musgrave car. Oh, and he gets squeezed up. Is that Wally Dallenbach on the outside?
Yep, it is.
He comes up, thinks he has the Dallenbach cleared. He didn't. He goes up and spins. We see Brett Bodine spin. Michael Walter goes down, makes contact with someone. He goes around. Now watch Brett. Jeff come in and run right in the side of poor Brett.
Yep. Michael Walter is in the pits. Here's John.
Bob, they're just going to change left tires. As you pointed out to the group, the left rear tire was flat. It doesn't look like there's any other damage to the race car on this side, but it looks like now they may bring Michael back in one more time. But just a left side tire change for Michael.
And Jerry is in Brett Bodine's pit.
Well, actually, the Bodine brothers pitting nose to tail here, Brett and Jeff. Brett's car, significant damage in the left front fender, the Quaker State Ford. That the injury from the motorcraft Ford hitting him in the left front side. They've tried to pull some of the sheet metal away. They've changed tires. Don't have a lot of time here without losing any more time. They are going to lose. They're about to lose on the left. Here's the pace car, and Brett puts it back in gear and just keeps that car one lap down instead of losing the second lap. He will be back on pit road here in just a moment.
Well, Brett is carrying one of our in-car cameras, and let's take a look from that perspective.
There we see Dallenbach on the outside. This is going in turn 3. Ted Musgrave, the Jasper engine car, right in. Now Dallenbach tries to go on the outside. He and Musgrave makes contact. Brett Bodine trying to keep him spinning the 16 car out of Dallenbach. And there's where Brett, when Jeff comes along, hits him in the left front.
Good stuff. Unfortunately, some damaged sheet metal there on several of the cars. Still under caution. Take a break. Back with more after this.
What is a mountain man's natural environment? Let's explore. A mountain man enjoys peaceful surroundings. A place where gentle winds blow. And the beauty of nature is all about. Only here does the mountain man find true happiness. With a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find out how the true mountain man can make any environment a more natural one.
When a man ran a grueling 26-mile marathon in a pair of dress shoes, what was he thinking? He was thinking, I'm glad they're Rockports. Rockport, you should be in our shoes.
The best defense is not to offend. Thus, introducing the new Right Guard Sports Stick. Now with a time-release formula for longer-lasting protection against hostile odor all day. For protection that endures.
Most of our customers come to AutoZone for low prices and for parts they can replace themselves. But many people come because we speak their language. Things like duration and lift and compression ratios, stuff like that. Because a guy who's going to rebuild an engine, he won't buy parts from just anybody. And since AutoZone stocks complete engines, we know what makes them tick inside and out. Sure, we sell our best parts at our best prices every day. But if we know something that's going to help you do the job right, you get that free.
Back alive at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. Here in the Mechanic of the Year standings, Andy Petrie is on top, Steve Meal second, Donnie Wingo third, Buddy Parrott fourth, and Dunny Glover is fifth. Tony Glover is fifth in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings. And I have a feeling that all these guys are going to be very busy in the next couple of weeks rebuilding race cars.
Yeah, they're going to have to put some sheet metal back on these cars. By the way, Danny Glover is an actor.
Oh, is that right?
It's a lethal weapon.
Oh, okay.
Here's the leader, Rusty Wallace, is still leading. We're glad to know that.
I think he has probably the most lethal weapon of all here today. That Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac has led most of the way, although Martin and Earnhardt have been strong.
There's Kyle Petty, the fourth place car. Here's 98, Jerry Cope once again, the Bojangles Ford.
That thing looks pretty clean, at least on the right side.
Don't say that, Bob. I mean, because all the Jerry Cope fans will be calling us and say, why'd we jinx him?
Yeah. But Jerry Cope fans can take pride in their driver because he has driven a great race.
Currently being shown in the 5th position. The 15 car, the Motorcraft Ford of Jeff Bodine, is behind the wall. They're working on it. And Phil Parsons has just gone out as well in the Manheim auction Chevrolet.
Jeff Bodine, obviously the windshield washer mechanism has malfunctioned. Is that right, Benny?
No. He's overheating, and that's the water.
Oh, is that right?
Out of the radiator, yeah.
Jerry, what can you add?
Well, the reason he's overheating is the radiator has been pushed back into the passenger's compartment of the car.